take my water first. Oh, let me make sure my Bluetooth ain't on. Could you log on to see, can you hear me? So I just made a post on Instagram. So see if the link worked for me and see if you can actually hear me. Okay. Sure know if you see. Okay, it say I'm live. Let me see. Cause I want to make sure it's right this time because I ended up doing a recap. What's your number off the top, Mark? I said your number is the one that start with what? Your phone number. 874?
It's 312-874.
Okay, I got that one.
Oh, wait, what?
All right, let's see if it comes through.
Yay, okay, yeah.
Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Oh, she can see me and hear me. Peace is the Almighty Infinite King, a.k.a. the Black Hunk, a.k.a. Young Saucedo, a.k.a. Pastor Offering, and we are here for another Sunday service. I was planning on doing this only once a month, but the Spirit's been moving me literally. The numbers been lining up. The first Sunday was actually on the 1st. The second Sunday is actually on the 8th. I'm Infinite Cain. I got to do this. And so today we're going to talk about a really big one. Today's Serum, as y'all know I call it. I don't call it a sermon. I call it a serum. And whipping up something, hopefully it's healing, hopefully it's inspiring, hopefully it's helpful. And so today's serum is called Now or Never, a.k.a. the D word, pause. And y'all know what that D word is? That D word is depression. And we're going to talk about it today. I feel like the subject of depression is usually talked about with people having it. And I don't feel like it's talked about enough, those people who have overcome it. And I am one of those people who have overcame it. So we're going to get into it today. And I feel like it's important to share your testimony or to share your journey or to share your methodology of how you were able to overcome it. I know this is let me put a trigger warning out there. I know this is a very sensitive subject. I know this is a very hard subject. I know a lot of you out there right now are going through depression, and this is not to be insensitive to anything that you have going on. This is hopefully to wield and build and inspire you during this time of turmoil. And so I just wanted to say that and open it up with that. Now, hopping into my serum or my cure, it's important that we talk about the etymology or the root word of these things that we do, because the first word of spelling is spell. So make sure you know exactly what you're saying out your mouth. Make sure you know the origin of these things. You know what I mean? You have to, it's important that you know this. This is not our first language. So if you don't know your first language and it's the one you got, I think it's very important that we find out what it is that we let it fly out our mouth. So I did something that I didn't normally do with this word particularly. I never looked it up because I don't want nothing to do with it, to be honest. But I finally looked it up, and depression meant to press down. To press down. And I thought about that and said, wow, I was going to go into some deep scientific all over here and there type of thing, but I'm just going to stay there. I grew up in the church. If anybody don't know, that's my first foundation as far as spirituality goes, and of course hip hop. It used to be this song in church that they sang every time before they passed the offering. They would say, "Give and it will come back to you." Sing it with me. Shaking together, running over, give and it will come back to you. Pressed down, shaking together, running over. Now, when I first heard that song as a kid, I used to love the melody because it was hard. But it was something that didn't sit right with me, and it's something that don't sit right with me to this moment. The first words is give, and it will come back to you. Well, the first thing about giving is that it may be your nature. However, what I've learned on the Build or Destroy Day, in order to build, you have to have wisdom. In order to add on positivity, you have to have discernment. So I asked the question to it, what are we giving to and why? Nobody ever asked this question. What are we giving to and why? So I just want to use this song. This song is perfect for me. Give and it will come back to you. Who are we giving to and why? I want you to ask yourself this question as you're navigating life and you're navigating depression. I want you to truly take a seat back and figure out what your destination is. What are you giving to and why are you giving it? Do you know what your goals are? Do you have any dreams? Do you have any aspirations? Do you have any things that you are trying to meet in your life, or is your life idle? Is your life random? Do you have no goals? Do you have no healthy expectations for yourself? Do you have no target? Are you just being? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just want you to know for an actual fact what it is that you're actually doing. What are you giving your life to, and why are you giving your life to these things? I'll use myself as a perfect example. When I experienced depression, my depression came out of relationships mostly. And I don't mean just romantic relationships, I mean relationships in general. What I've come to find out about myself and having the knowledge of self is that I am a person who is about family. I am a person who is about community. I am a person who is about enjoying life in the fullness thereof with other people that I love. I've learned that that's truly who I am, because the truth of the matter is to get things done, I don't need anybody to get my practical things done for my life. What do I mean by that? I don't need people sitting next to me who are just watching as fair weather fans. I don't need people next to me who are just leeching at all. I don't need people around me to motivate me. I am self-motivated because I know where I'm going. I have goals. I have a destination. So therefore, it allows me to know what I am giving to and why I'm giving to it. Now, what happens is that nature, that innate feeling that some of you might have, which is you're wanting to be around other people or wanting to share this with other people. And what happens a lot of times is, or what happened with me is, our goals or our destination is not aligned. They tend to know who they want to be around, but they don't know where they want to go. And so a lot of the times you'll find yourself giving to someone or something that has no alignment with where you're headed. And this is how you end up pressed down, because you're giving. But is it to your goal? Is it the sum total of your human activities? Is it where you're spending your day? Or is it every time somebody calls you, whether you be a musician, whether you be a painter, whether you be an actress, whether you be a gymnast, whatever you are, instead of your time being, oh, I'm at home practicing right now. Oh, I'm at home doing this, that, and the third now toward my goal. It's, no, I got to go pick up Terry. No, I got to go look out for Larry. Oh, I got to go pick up little Nuck. Oh, I got to do this, that, and the third. A lot of the times you are stretching yourself thin and allowing yourself to be pressed down. Because when we give, remember, what are we giving to and why? Sometimes we lose sight of why we are even giving. And that is the part where I found myself depressed. I would give to people because I seen the best in them. I see the best in people all of the time. And just to give you a little bit of a background about me, I just found out that my great-great-grandfather had 30 children. And so my want for family to be close, or my want for community to be close, is not just something that's in my mind, it's a part of who I am. My grandfather, which was one of his many sons, because clearly my great-great-grandfather was Father Abraham. Father Abraham had many, y'all know the song. But yeah, he was clearly Father Abraham. And he also founded an away camp, a black away camp in Clinton Township, Michigan. So they were surrounded by children. It was his 30 children, and then it was children from all over the country that came out to this. So that's who I am. It's a part of who I am. And where I found myself in this and giving unto people is, I forgot why I was given. The reason why I was given was honestly because I seen the best in them, and I wanted them to get in tune with their higher self, so indeed they can get on the same sheet of music with me and with my higher self, and then we can be in alignment, and then we can grow together, we can go together, and we can glow together. But a lot of times you cannot set a destination for somebody else. You have to ask the questions of who they are. You have to ask the questions of where do you come from? Who are your people? What do you desire? Because the things that I desire are pure. That's who I am. And I did the research to find out why. I said, damn, why do you want all these people? You're able to make money. You're able to go wherever you want to go. Why do you have this desire to have people around you? And then I did some deep diving, and it's really in me. It ain't on me. But in the doing that you do, you have to have discernment. So just remember that. Remember, what are you giving and why are you giving? Okay? Because the saying goes, give and it will come back to you. Let's stop right there. And it will come back to you. All right, if we know what we're giving and we know why we're giving, the come back to you is a tricky part because that becomes an expectation. And that speaks to what we were just speaking to about you can't set a destination for anybody. So a lot of times you may be in a position that I've been in and say, well, yeah, I'll give and sacrifice unto this. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to grow together and glow together. So I might give out these things, but it'll come back to you. Sometimes that expectation comes from you want it back from that person. That is not how the universe works. The universe works like this. What you put in is what you get out. But it never says who you're going to get it from. So a lot of times we find ourselves pressed and also pressed down because we're giving to things or we're giving to people with the expectation that it will return to you from them. So when it doesn't come back from them, you become pressed down or you become depressed. Y'all understand what I'm saying? That is a big point of this, and it will come back to you. Know that if you are being a good orderly director or you are reflecting the light of the divine power of the universe, it will return to you, but you have to have wisdom of who to give to. Because are you trying to plant seeds in the concrete? I know that's a cute phrase, a rose growing out of the concrete, but it's a tough assignment in my dad's voice. It's a tough assignment. Or are you planting it into fertile ground? Because if you have that discernment, then maybe your expectations will be more realistic. And so just remember that. What are we giving to and why? Okay, so the rest of it goes press down. You can sing it with me. Press down, shaking together, running over. Now the question we got to ask is, why press down? Why are we pressed down? Why is my giving pressing me down? If the Bible says that God loves a cheerful giver, then why am I pressed down doing this? And why are we shaking? Who am I shaking together with? And more importantly, who's getting ran over? And who's running over? Because a lot of times we feel or we go through things where we're pressed down because we're not getting things out. We're pressed down because we're not able to do what we see within ourselves because we have sacrificed and we're having an expectation for somebody to sacrifice back for us. So now you find yourself not just pressed, as the kids say, but now you pressed down and now you're depressed. I would describe the feeling of depression as that commercial. Help, I'm falling and I can't get up. That's how I would personally describe depression. Depression for me has been a feeling where I want to do better, I would like to get up and move around, but I can't. I can't. And that is not a word that's ever been in my vocabulary, is I can't, except for when I was depressed. As an athlete, I've experienced what we would call as out-of-body experience on a physical level, meaning I've done things that I can't really explain how I did them besides putting the work in and then doing it. I've pushed the school bus by myself before. So I've seen the extremities in which my body could go and where my mind could go. But I've also had times where I couldn't even get my ass out the bed. So how does one go from being able to push a bus to not being able to get your ass out of bed? And I'm going to tell you how. It's the press down, shaking together, and running over that's happening to you. Now you're pressed down, you're not reaching your goals. You've extended or you've given something to something or someone that does not yield a harvest or does not give back to you. You have spent a season investing and stressing over things that are outside of your control. And what do you start to do? Shake together. What does that even mean? A lot of times, have y'all ever heard the phrase trauma bonding? Y'all ever heard that? That's what I'm going to describe as shaking together. So a lot of times for me, I might have had these physical times where I could push a bus, right? That's a pretty extreme thing where I could do that. And then I've had those days where I couldn't get myself out of bed. And what do I start doing? Finding other people or other things that can relate with the hopes that I can now get up. I start doing practices that maybe if I escape for a second from this feeling, I'll get back up. Maybe if I get with this person, I know they're going through something right now that I'll be able to get back up because they can relate. That's shaking together. The problem with the shaking together is that now you're losing sight of the total goal. If my goal is to be physically strong or to push a bus or to be mentally strong, me going out and drinking constantly is not going to help that. I have never seen a liquor commercial with an athlete in it, like an active athlete. I've just never seen it. I've never seen Rob Gronkowski drinking vodka like during the Super Bowl. Like that's not a thing. So you start to shake together and do things to escape the depression or the press down that you're going together, that you have going on, and you start to shake it together. Now you're creating a Molotov cocktail within yourself that may not be conducive to you again reaching your goals or your dreams or getting these things done. So now you have a huge problem. Now you're getting with people who are, they might not have had a goal and might be depressed. So now this is how you get into being ran over. This is how you get into being ran over. It's because now your navigation is off. Where is your navigation system? Where is your discernment? Where is your what am I giving to? What am I giving and why? Where is that? Where is your identification and say to yourself, I'm pressed down. I'm depressed. And to let other people know what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. Where is that? You lost sight of it because you created a distraction for yourself in hopes that now you can get up. And within that distraction, there's still no goal to get back right or to get back to where you were headed. Now we're in a world of hurt, as my mother would say. Now you're in a world of hurt because you're not on track for your goals. You have an unhealthy expectation that the things or the people that you have invested in will return to you or return your harvest to you. When the truth is 9 times out of 10, they didn't help build who you are to begin with. So your expectation is unreal. But that's what you were looking for. That's what you were hoping for. That's what you were wanting. And it's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you have to be realistic. So you've lost your knowledge. You've lost your wisdom or your discernment. Now you have a misunderstanding. Why am I not back on track? You're not back on track because you're pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So the point of this all was, again, to talk about how do we get out of it. I just talked about how you get into it. Let's get into this so we can get you up out of it. When I found myself depressed, it was about relationships. I was pouring into someone who didn't necessarily have the same goals as I had. My goals was always to be a world leader and one of the greatest artists of all time. That's always been my goal and always will forever remain my goal. And I will hit that goal and I will exceed that goal because I'm in tune with who I am and whose I am. And I was with the person and her goals were very practical. Nothing wrong with those practical goals. But where I was headed was not aligned with where they were headed. And that caused us to be pressed down. And it caused us to be shaken together. Because while she's still handling her practical business, there's a lack of concern for my goals and my business. And then vice versa, I looked at her goals as, well, that's easy work. That's what you do. You want to go to school, get a job? That's okay, go ahead. Like, that's not that big of a thing, but that's not okay because there becomes no understanding and you will start to stagnate each other. How do you get out of this? So after a while, I'm trying to pull, and it's pulling teeth to get you on the same sheet of music to where I am and what I want to do and where I'm headed and what says within me that it's not just a want, but it is a must. That's another point. Sometimes the things that you desire are not wants. It is a must. If you don't do these things, you feel like you're dying. I have those things within me. Being an artist is one of those things. Making music is one of those things. Doing photography is one of those things. Like I said, cultivating, culminating, that's one of those things. So when you're pushing that, you're giving your dream to somebody else. You're putting directly into them, constantly putting into them. But again, you can't make them have a target. They can't see it. They don't necessarily have anyone as an example to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. A lot of times the people that are on these, they look at your goals as, oh, they're just people on TV. I've met most of the people that I've wanted to meet that I've seen on TV. So for me, it's not unrealistic, but for the average person walking around, those things might be unrealistic. So you trying to pour into them and tell them, well, I'm trying to get to the top of this mountain, and they're telling you they're trying to get to the top of a hill, it could be searching for that does not exist. So we were pressed down, and a lot of times what it started to do for me is I started to cope, or I started to escape, or I started to get into other things such as drinking. Drinking has never been a natural thing for me. I have never seen a liquor bottle in my household in the refrigerator until I put it in there. It's because I threw events and I gave a lot of people their first drink, and I got to check on y'all, to be honest. And you know, I never had drinking around me. Nobody in my family on my mother's side or my father's side drank alcohol. Like, I never seen it until I was the person to say, hey, you know, I'm throwing parties. Here goes some leftovers. Put this here. I would start to drink, but that would start to take away from who I was. It would take away from my athleticism or what it is that I really wanted to do. I would still be able to get it in, but it'll be a little bit harder than it was before. My muscles wouldn't pop back the same way how they used to. My cheekbones wouldn't pop out the same way that they used to. And I got to a point where I switched from drinking to eating. And I would eat and eat and eat and eat. And I got to the point where I think I was 285 pounds. And I was wearing a size 44 shorts or jeans or whatever. And I had never been that big in my life. This is post playing sports. So there was so many things going on, not just my relationship. My mother was starting to get sick at that time, and I was just going through quite a few things. But I could feel myself get to a point where I could no longer do the things that I used to do. I realized that I had given so much out with the expectation that it would come back to me from those people or from that thing, and it did not come back. It didn't come back from that relationship. It didn't come back from that liquor bottle. It didn't come back from any of the above. And so I became pressed down. At one time, I could get up and I could run 5 miles in a breeze. At that point, I could barely find myself to get out of bed. I was getting up, having drinks real early, you know, just trying to escape the feeling or the emotion that I was having. And at some point, I started to get so annoyed that I could feel physical nuances going on in my body. With me, when I'm stressed or depressed, it's two places that will go off. I won't tell y'all on here because I don't trust the internet like that. But it's two places that go off in me that something's not right. You need to stop this. You need to get away from this. This is not you. It's two physical signs that I have, and you got to pay attention to those signs. But in order to pay attention to those signs, I had to starve them. What do I mean by starve them? A lot of y'all out there right now are depressed. Right now, a lot of y'all can't do the things that you used to do. A lot of y'all are struggling to get out the bed. A lot of y'all are struggling to get to your job. A lot of y'all are struggling to put that smiling face on. And let me tell you, the first thing that I had to do, and for everybody is different. Again, I'm very sensitive to this subject because I know how heavy it is. But we got to come about that thing. Period. We got to come about that thing unless you want to stay there. And if you want to stay there, I'm not going to play there. Me, I got to come about that thing because I got places to go. And so the way that I was able to do that is what I had realized is I had created something in my body. I had changed my physical and cell structure. I had changed what it desired. I had changed the food or the fuel that I was putting into my body, and I was expecting the same results. Everybody knows the definition of insanity. I'm not going to say it. People love saying that over and over. I'm not going to be the guy. But when you do something over and over, you essentially you are what you eat, pretty much. And I had started to eat the wrong food physically and mentally. So my body became a product of what I was putting into my body. I want y'all to say, starve your depression. Starve your depression. That is the first step that I took, is I had to starve my depression. Because every time I tried to do something that I used to do, it called on what I used to put in my body. And unfortunately, I didn't have that in my body and my mind anymore because I had reprogrammed myself. So I would go grab for water or Gatorade or something I used to put in my body. And all I could find was Hennessy, Patron. All I could find was Don Julio. So when I started to go inside of there, I realized, oh my God, I am not the same person that I once was. My body now craves and now expects something that is not healthy for me, something that is not conducive to running 5 miles. Your body begins to crave it. Your mind begins to crave it. So you have to, I would suggest to anybody, and I know this because my mother would do it since we were children. I used to fast when I was a kid. We would do Daniel fast. We would do this for days, and I found myself sometime as a child in a state of delirium when I wasn't eating certain food, or whether I be on a water fast or a fruit fast or any of the above. I found myself in a state of delirium, which my mother described as perfect peace. I would find myself in a place where all I could do is laugh. I would find myself in a place where all I could do was spin around or jump around, because I had no food, or I had no fuel, or I had no sugar, or I had no cupcakes or any of that I would normally put in my body. So now my body was doing the things that naturally a child's body would do. I want to jump around, I want to have fun, I want to smile, and I want to go to sleep. She also would make sure that we didn't watch certain TV. We could only watch TV for about an hour or two on that day, because it's not about your physical food, it's also about your mental food. You are what you eat. Now, I won't give you the definition for insanity like most people do, but I will keep saying that one back to you. You are what you eat. So I found myself in this perfect peace, or in this bliss that my mother would say, and I found myself doing new things. In the time that I would usually eat, I found myself drawing now. Anybody who knows me know I'm not the greatest fine artist, even though fine art is the one that I praise and appreciate the most. I love a good art gallery show. I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm a photographer. That became my gift. But I digress. Getting into that, I started to draw though. And I started to draw my goals. So at the time being an athlete, I would draw basketball rims. I would draw shoes. I used to cut hair. My brother used to cut hair. I used to draw dope haircuts and stuff like that, because my mind naturally said, we don't have the fuel you used to put in us. So what you gonna do? Like, what's your time gonna be filled? We just gonna sit here and look stupid? You can't eat right now. So what are you going to do? So the first step I'm telling y'all is starve your depression. You have to restructure your mind. You have to restructure your body, and you have to restructure so you can restructure your spirit to get where you're going. That's the first thing that I would say. I would say try fasting. Try fasting from the food that you put in your body that you know is unhealthy. Do a little bit of research about who you are. I got being a vegetarian from my grandmother. Bless your soul, Almeda. My grandmother became a vegetarian at like 60 something. Her skin was looking amazing. She was traveling the world. She was doing fantastic things. And I said, I got to get down with that program. If she can do it, I can do it. And so you got to know where it is that you're going. And you also have to empty your body out of whatever you're putting into it, because food literally means fuel. Where are you going with all of this? In the words of Baby, to what end? Where are you headed with all of this? Drinking and drugging, where are you headed? No shade. Anybody who knows me know when I'm doing, I do it like I do it for TV, baby. It is what it is. But you have to understand where you're going in this season. Where are you headed in this season? Are you headed to the Super Bowl this season? Are you headed to the World Series this season? Are you headed to the championship in your life this season? Or are you headed to being are you headed to being an alcoholic? You have to ask yourself those questions. So I would say starve your depression first. Take the wrong food out, restructure your cells, and decide where it is that you're going so you can put the right food in your body and in your mind so you can get to your destination. So that's the first step that I would recommend. The second step that I would recommend in doing that and how I got out of my depression is creating a foundation. What is a foundation? A foundation is a base. A foundation is a structure in which you can build upon. A foundation is what you base your life upon, or the sum total, or your daily activities on. When I was, Christianity was once my foundation. And I got to a point in Christianity where certain things start to get read, where I said, I got to go a little deeper than this. And now my foundation is supreme mathematics. I live my life daily based upon principles and meaning that are aligned with numerology and how I will deal with today, how I will deal with the things that I'm facing. So for example, today is the build or destroy day. To build means to add on positivity. To destroy means to take away negativity. So if you turn that on its side, the 8 on its side, it's a lemon skate. And that lemon skate is an infinity sign or an infinite sign. Hence my name, no ending, eternal, countless in number, or endless in number. That's who I view myself as, but that's also how I view the process of building and destroying. In order to add on positivity, sometimes you have to take away negativity so you can build a sturdy foundation. A lot of times you are trying to build a mansion on a mudslide. It's not going to happen. A lot of times you are trying to become a pro athlete, or you are trying to become a bodybuilder on cookies, cupcakes, and macaroni and cheese. Now, all those things are delicious, but it might not be conducive to you being an athlete or you being a bodybuilder. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's not how you build muscle mass. I may not know a lot, but I know that for sure. This is not how you get there. And so make sure that you're paying attention to what your foundation is. I would say that your spiritual foundation and your mental foundation is the most important. Spirit means the wind of God. We all are breathing breath. That means we are filled with the Spirit. What is your spirit doing? Is it aligned with living a life of life, or it is assigned to living a life of death? You have to recognize this. You have to look inside you and say, what am I basing every day on? Am I just taking it how it comes? Or are you setting a foundation of how you're going to handle the day when it comes? So that's the second thing, is I would say set a sturdy foundation for how you're living your life. Something that resonates with you naturally. If your elders are still around and you love how they live their life, I think it's very important that you tap into them and see what it is that they might have going on. Because ancestrally, your foundation may be something that you never knew it was. And so I would say get a foundation, because once you starve yourself, that wondering that I was talking about, or that perfect peace as my mother would describe it, depending on what your physical degree or your age is, that might not be a sturdy place for you. You're going to need a grounding post to foundate yourself, because you might have been putting that fuel and bullshit into your body and into your mind for so long that you don't know who the fuck you are. You don't even have a clue who you are. And that's okay, because I view space as an opportunity to put things in that are foundational. But make sure that you have something foundational going on, or you have something. I can advise some books. I can tell y'all about my foundation. I can let you know a lot of things, but that's the second part that I would say is make sure that you have a grounding post while you're building your foundation, because building and destroying is an infinite process in creating anything and bringing anything to existence. You must have wisdom, and the only way you can build and destroy is through your wisdom. And the only way you can bring something into existence is by building and destroying with that said wisdom. So that's the second thing that I say. And the third thing that I want to say, I want to get back to the song. I'm going to say it one more time. Give, and it will come back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Running over is the third thing I got to say. Are you running over your goals? Are you running through them and running over? Is your cup running over? Or are you being ran over? You have to. It is imperative. It is imperative that you identify this to overcome depression. In my opinion, again, I'm very sensitive to this subject. Again, I'm very understanding of this subject. Again, I feel it is a subject that we talk about going through, but we don't talk about how we got over it enough. Except for that young lady out there. What's her song? These hoes depressed, not me. I take my. She came up with one way to get over it. I'm just trying to throw another one out there. I'm just trying to do my part. So it's very important that you identify whether you're running over your goals and through them, you getting it done, or whether your cup is running over and you just splashing and spilling on everybody and it's just working out and it's benefiting the whole situation, or are you being ran over? 9 times out of 10, if you are depressed, you are being ran over. You're being ran over. You're being trampled. And the effed up part about it is that you're doing it to yourself. You're doing it to yourself because you're holding yourself, as we were saying in my culture, in a mental jailhouse for the mistakes that you have made in your life. You are holding on to that expectation of what you gave to come back from the people and the things that you gave it to. You're holding on to it. You're allowing yourself to continuously be pressed down. So that's what a lot of you are going through. The best way to get over that, we just talked about it, is starving that depression. But another way, after you get past the starving part, now it's time to rebuild your body up. Put the right food into your body and put it into your mind. As we were talking about stating your foundation. It's time to go back to reading. You don't need to watch the TV shows that you're watching all the time. And I am here to preach, but I'm more so here to teach. So I'm not talking to y'all as a saint, I'm talking to you as a sinner. But I'm not talking to you as a loser, I'm talking to you as a winner. So get with me if you understand what it is that I'm saying. I'm telling you that I'm a person that participates. I might be watching one of the guys on Earth talk on the internet, but the next moment, Sunday and Monday night, I'm watching baddies. It's called balance. It's called balance. But some of y'all are drinking, drugging, and you on a baddies diet. You on a love and hip hop throwback. You binge watching. A lot of the things that you're putting in your eyes and in your ears are molding your brain, and you don't even realize it. If you look up, some of y'all practices match the commercials on the shows that you're watching. Now you're eating the shit that they're preaching to you. Now you're watching the shit that they're preaching to you. Now don't get me wrong. This might be who some of y'all is by nature. I'm not going to sit here and get away from that. I know they're saying, oh yeah, we was all kings and queens. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. No, we wasn't. We wasn't all kings and queens. Some of y'all was murderers and peasants. Yeah, I said that. Because the thing is that you have to know your nature. You have to know who it is that you are. And I got some shit in my gene pool back there of some killers, dealers, and healers. You feel what I'm saying? But you have to know what it is that where you're headed and what your target is. That might not be your target. So I'm not saying that judgmental. I'm saying that in a way where look at who you are. Look at what it is that you're made of. Don't look at every person like they should be doing what you're doing. I'm not looking at every person and saying, hey, you got to put the McDonald's and the liquor down. This is not for everybody. This is those that are headed towards their destiny. This is for those people who are headed towards getting more than 1 degree, several degrees, because there's 360 degrees in a circle and there's also 360 in a square. Which one are you in? Get you more than 1 degree. This is what this is for. So in doing that, I think this is very important that once you starve it, you nourish your body. You nourish your mind. You get some balance. You start putting some of the right things in. Start writing again. It'll come natural once you start starving yourself. Once you start starving your depression, watch how much stuff flow out. Because what else you gonna do with your time? You have to start reading again, start writing again, start listening to some of the right things that you used to listen to. Don't just do it for school or scholastics. What did you enjoy when you were in school? You know, you can do that for yourself to build yourself up. So that's what I would also advise to you is when building your foundation, make sure you carefully restructure who it is that you are now and who it is that you're growing to be. Try some different things, y'all. Try to put the right food into your mind, into your body. Try to do things that are conducive to life and that are not conducive to death. I'm not telling anybody to get on a health kick. I'm talking to the people who want to eat right. Like, I'm not talking to anybody who wants to get on a diet. I'm talking to somebody who wants their heart to cause a riot. These are the people that I'm talking to. So it's not for necessarily everybody, but this is what I've advised for the people that want to come about that thing. The third thing and the last thing that I would say, and the reason why it's the third thing is because some of the time y'all think it's the first thing. And that's the reason in a lot of cases why you're depressed in the first place. The third thing is watch who you surround yourself with. Watch what you surround yourself with. Watch the atmospheres that you put yourself in. If you were to stop drinking or eating certain food or doing certain things, that does not mean when you go to Thanksgiving dinner, they're going to stop eating chitlins. That does not mean when you go to the party, there's not going to be liquor there. That doesn't mean that your friends right next to you who you still love and care about are not going to be drinking. It is not your job to jump on your high horse and say to them, oh, because I stopped drinking, you need to put... What God has for you is for you. Do your thing. Be a living example. You know what I mean? Be the splash you want to be in the world, as my homie CJ would say. Be that. Be the change you want to see in the world. Don't necessarily go there and do that. But be careful of where you go and what you do, because you're not exempt from backsliding. You're not. And that doesn't mean you have to ostracize yourself. That means that you have to be solid in your foundation. Don't jump out after 4 months of starving yourself and put the right food in. Now you finna go out to the same clubs that you went to show off. That's your ego talking. That ain't necessarily you being who you want to be to reach your goals. Oh, you saved a little money, you got 2 pairs of gym shoes. Hey, listen, that's for you. But that doesn't mean that you're strong enough to fight the temptation or the battles that may be coming towards you, or the people who may treat you differently since you're moving differently. So make sure that you watch your surroundings. Be very careful with building yourself up, because now you're progressing. Now you're not pressed down, you're pressed up. You're pressed to get where you're going. So make sure that the things and the places that you put yourself in are conducive to the life that you are now living. To go over that again for y'all, I hope you understand this song. I always wonder why it didn't sit well with me all the way. Yes, give, and it will come back to you. But remember, what are you giving? Who are you giving to and why? Pressed down, shaken together. Don't be pressed down. Don't be pressed down. Press down on you being great. Press down on your goals. Press down on your destination. Press down on your deadlines. Press down on the time that you put in yourself. Press down on that fucking calendar on your iPhone. Press down on that. But don't be pressed down. Press down on them. Let's get to it. Shaking together. Watch who you shaking together with. Why are you shaking together with them? What are y'all shaking? Don't lose sight of your goal. Don't lose sight of your mission. as I said, I'm very sensitive to this because I've been there. I've been in places where I couldn't get myself out of the bed. I've been in a place where I put myself in a hospital because of the food that I was eating and put in my system. I've been there because I congested my lung from smoking a Black and Mild. Some of this shit is not for me. I've been there. I've been in a size 44 jeans where I couldn't fit in none of my clothes. I've been in a place where I sought food to lift me up. I'm not in that place no more. And I say, watch who you're shaking together with. What are you guys shaking together? Because then you can hold yourself accountable for where you're going. Some people not ready to get out their depression. Some people still on demon time, right? Some people trying to see if they could pull you down because this is where they want to stay. This is where they're at. You have to watch that and running over. Ask yourself the question. Are you running over your goals? Are you pressing down on them? You know, are you getting it done? Is your cup running over? And you just splashing and dripping on everybody and it's working out? Or are you being ran over? You have to ask yourself those things. And if you're being ran over, and all of us have been ran over, starve it. Back it up. Put the right food in. Build yourself back up. Watch and pray, pray and watch. Start to watch who you're putting yourself around and what atmospheres. Watch how you feel. Do you like how you look? Do you like what you're doing? Do you like this new body that you're in? Do you like this new mindset that you're in? Watch it. Because the goal is to be running over those goals and for your cup to be running over. So I know this was a hard subject. And I build this was inspiring. I build that it was inspirational. Be great today. Go get you some sun. Right? Enjoy this day. For this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice in. Hello. And that's what we're going to do with today. So I love y'all very much. Y'all make sure y'all check this out. I recorded my A and B selection. Y'all make sure y'all go check out that Now and Never. Because that's the type of time I'm on. It's now and never, baby. And feel free if you know me or you my homie that you hit me up. And if you got any questions or, just let me know. I'm here to build and destroy. You let me know which one you need. Peace.